Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. The return of Johnny Depp to Hollywood. The spotlight has formally started with a striking change that has fans. The initial glance startled people all around the world. From his eagerly awaited return, movie April 15th marked the release of Daydrinker. The excitement surrounding 2025 has Depp, who has reached a fever pitch, stayed comparatively quiet in recent years after a flurry of court cases, media attention, as well as a phase of withdrawal from the public eye, nearly unidentifiable in this new position. His appearance is a dramatic change. From Captain's swashbuckling charm Jack Sparrow or his quirky charm of Daydrinker, Depp's Willy Wonka represents a persona steeped in ruggedness, gritty reality and worldliness that has both critics and admirers doing a gaunt features make you double take. A troubled expression and withered skin. Depp's performance indicates not just a new chapter in his acting career, although additionally a possibly pivotal point in his legendary career. The initial pictures displayed by Daydrinker Depp as a middle-aged man living alone, wrapped in a worn-out coat, his deep-set wrinkles that shade the eyes, and his glossy hair has become twisted tangle of ash blonde and grey hair. The change is so total that even dedicated followers have acknowledged that they had to take a second look before recognizing it was in. This isn't the dashing Johnny Depp, 1990s heartthrob, or the mysterious. This early 2000s anti-hero is a character forged by adversity, reflection, and possibly even air presentation of the performer's own tumultuous travel in recent years. The unadulterated nature of the appearance is purposefully designed, carefully to portray a man whose life has been plagued by addiction to pain and loneliness, as one of the story's main themes line of Daydrinker, helmed by an Oscar-nominated director. The Daydrinker, Lena Forsythe, is a psychological thriller that explores the complexity of a man's internal conflict demons when trying to get back in touch with a world that he had previously left. The Depp's character is a former jazz musician who became a recluse whose decline, exploring mental health and alcoholism, hardships caused him to become distant from. The melancholy is viewed negatively by society. Against the backdrop of a soggy New Orleans, the movie looks at memories of redemption, and the thin boundary between brilliance and madness. Forsythe is well known for her human and strikingly beautiful. According to reports, Depp was not cast in the story, not only for his acting skills, but also because of the emotional reality he was able to such a tormented role. As per sources near the industrial site, that the director urged Depp to use his own suffering and experiences into the performance that results in ungenuineness that is already striking a chord with viewers, even if they are only watching a still. Reactions from image enthusiasts have been conflicting thus far. Intensely enthusiastic on social media sites, such as X, formerly Twitter, and the discussion on Instagram is raging. Some viewers are shocked as well as praised, honored the actor's courage in letting go of ego to project such a raw character, calling the appearance captivating, also evidence that genuine actors are never timid, rejecting ugly things in the sake of art. Others voiced their worries, inquiring if the appearance resulted from method acting excessively, or if Depp's physical change was a reflection of a real-life health decline. But insiders verified that the appearance was created under the guidance of an expert prosthetics and makeup crew, collaborating closely with costume designers and filmmakers to produce a coherent visual story. It's all a part of, not as a percentage of Depp's computed return revived legend, but as an experienced performer, willing to delve deeper and more sophisticated interview content. Promote the Daydrinker teaser. The production crew members commended Depp's dedication to his co-star. The actress Naomi Watts portrays a social worker, trying to assist Depp's character in locating a road to recovery, revealed that working with him was passionate and motivating. Observed that Depp would maintain his character between takes, frequently returning to remote areas of the set to preserve his mental health. Depth. There were times when she stated, "The pain was radiating off of you." He wasn't merely acting, it was more profound, akin to an exorcism. Lena Forsythe, the director, echoed similar feelings that demonstrate that Depp's performance attracted a large number of members of the team to tears during the movie's final moments. He gave us everything, she said. He had bared his soul. This movie isn't about glitz or the bow-wrapped redemption arcs include regarding the unpleasant reality of being human. And Johnny understood that Depp's. What makes Daydrinker's return so important is the moment after his extremely well-publicized court cases involving the ex-wife Amber Heard. Depp discovered that he was both accepted and rejected by various public groups, although many of his supporters stayed devoted and vigorously campaigned for his return to franchises such as Amazing Animals and Pirates of the Others in the Caribbean, wondered about the future of his professional career in a field more. Determined by public perception and responsibility, Depp's choice to withdraw from popular movies and engross himself in music and independent projects were both a reaction to the examination and an expression of his wish to get back in touch. His appearance with art, according to his own terms, in European motion pictures such as John Dubarry and his roles in the Hollywood, The Vampires Band, enabled him to keep presence as he adjusted his Daydrinker has now replaced the creative compass. Depp is prepared to make a comeback, not as the flamboyant icon in Hollywood in the previous year, but as an actor of substance able to exhibit extreme vulnerability and industry insiders' emotional depth. Think Daydrinker could identify the start of a new stage in Depp's profession, one characterized by realistic grit and awards and performances in a stripped-down manner. The season is still months away. Forecasts indicate that if the movie fulfills the emotional impact of DP's marketing materials, could bevying for significant honors, that the movie will have a limited theatrical run. Release with a wider role in the fall, scheduled in front of the Winter Awards. Executives at Circuit Studios have explained it as the most impactful performance by Depp. In several decades, and there's an increasing agreement that the position may be redefined. How he is viewed by supporters as well as also by reviewers who had previously written about him, off as the societal discussion around restoration of mental health and Hollywood authenticity. Changes Depp's new position could be a timely remarks on those specific topics. Particularly, Daydrinker also signifies an important Depp's partnership with a new Lena Forsythe, a generation of filmmakers, is at the forefront of Hollywood's upcoming filmmakers that aren't scared art to confront difficult realities. By associating with these voices, Depp is expressing a readiness to embrace projects and abandon outdated formulas. With Heart and Soul, his collaboration, Forsythe has been characterized as electrifying, with both performers urging one another, others to investigate artistic limits. Their regard for one another is demonstrated in film from behind the scenes where they are seen in in-depth conversations regarding character inspiration, heartbeats, and visual. According to narrative Forsythe, she considered Depp when writing the script, thinking that only he could deliver the essential gravity and brittleness to the Depp's involvement, and the chance to work with someone who doesn't have any baggage of history might have been just what he had to put on a real revival. It is impossible to overlook the symbolism underlying the title of the movie. Daydrinker conjures up a feeling of disorder and hopelessness, but additionally, a peculiar form of liberty, a man who's abandoned social conventions, but still looks for significance in the fringes of metaphorically refers to Depp as a guy who has been in the spotlight for years, swinging back and forth between devotion and condemnation. In numerous ways, he has turned into people watch a cultural Rorschach test in what people like to observe in him, whether it's the disturbed artist who is misunderstood spirit, or the careless Daydrinker who is famous, gives him a canvas on which to express his truth. Regardless of how awkward or unflattering it is possibly, and the reaction to this reality are syndicated by the response wave online, most people are respectful, and interest, despite the somber and gloomy tone of the Depp, has conveyed a feeling of catharsis for the individual via the character in a rare statement made public. This project, he said through his agency, appeared to me when I was seeking quiet for introspection, provided me with a mirror to gaze at, and while what I observed wasn't always simple, essential, these terms have only contributed to the film's aura of mystery. And for admirers, its main figure is more than a film. It's a glimpse into the mind of a man they have been following for decades of victories, and ultimately, controversies like Johnny Depp's unidentifiable appearance in Daydrinker is more than just a change in appearance. It's a declaration that symbolizes a purposeful abandonment of former identities, an acceptance of unease, and a leap of faith into unexplored creative realms. It pushes viewers to look beyond superficial appearances and face the unvarnished humanity underneath. If the movie attains financial success, it has already achieved one important goal. It has brought to recall Johnny Depp's remarkable capacity for innovation, himself, and captivate audiences in unexpected ways. Methods as the movie's premiere date draws near. Depp will be the center of attention, scandalous interest, but in expectation of what might be among the most significant performances during his career. This computed change isn't not only a surface-level alteration, but rather evidence of Depp's commitment to changing as a performer. Observers have observed that the ferocity of his Daydrinker's appearance goes beyond makeup and outfit. It represents an emotional burden that is indicative of years of individual turmoil and creative aspirations. His face was marked by strong lines that ice with intense lighting, and the stooped depiction is influenced by stance that is eerily plausible. It seems as though Depp has eliminated any hint of glitz too. He fully immerses himself in the mind of a man whose life has fallen apart. There's a vulnerability in his posture. His eyes have a hollowness that can't be created without using actual emotional reserves that are prepared to become nearly indistinguishably susceptible. What's drawing in the people is what's on television, focusing on and making analogies to the legendary performances of profoundly troubled characters in movies. Historically, the decision to place the movie in Orleans exacerbates the feeling of depressing and decaying surroundings. Depp's portrayal of the city's wealthy streets, with a sense of atmosphere and musical history filled with spirit and intrigue, acts as a setting as well as a metaphor for the rain-slicked character's internal turmoil bars, with low lighting and smoky jazz on the pavement's clubs, construct a narrative canvas, strengthening the ideas of lost greatness and Depp, who has long appreciated faded fantasies, the richness of New Orleans culture, and even owned land in the past. There was said to have participated in some of the imaginative conversations on the place and atmosphere. His knowledge of the rhythm and atmosphere of the city made him fall. Further understanding the role that permits the setting to guide his performance in subtle but effective methods behind the Lena Forsythe's camera was careful in establishing the film's visual tone to align with the emotional terrain of the main character, and the cinematographer, Giancarlo Reyes, chose a subdued color scheme that is characterized by browns and grays and subdued blue hues that reflect the protagonist's lack of emotion. In this intentional aesthetic selection highlights the feeling of separation and reflection that characterizes Depp's character, that each frame aims to convey, similar like a picture that is about to peel, similar to the man in the middle of the camera lingers on silences in the story, dimly lit environments, and partially consumed beverages, sweating on wooden tables, highlighting the gradual decline of a man's. The function of the prosthesis team was crucial in forming Depp's striking appearance, led by the industries. The team spent hours with veteran Mara Dry, using facial prostheses every day. That he added carelessness and elderly fatigue to his sunken cheeks, and faint liver-brittle hair and patches were made using so accurately that the changes seemed completely at ease on screen, that the procedure was taxing and needed Depp's complete cooperation, which he voluntarily provided. The set's sources explained how he frequently showed up hours ahead of other cast members to start the change process, never whining, and being totally involved. According to Depp, artistry was a like to collaborate with a disciplined, honoring the craft, and dedicated to. Her team even went as far as to detail us looking at actual case studies of phaging brought on by alcohol to get genuineness. This degree of realism persisted throughout Depp's style of performance began more rather than depending on blocks or rehearsals in the conventional way, since he frequently asked to perform improvised takes, letting feelings flow organically from the sequence in one, especially terrifying, when he allegedly lost it during a monologue regarding failure, loss, and that the footage had such impact that Forsythe opted to retain it in the finished cut. Other actors, even if it wasn't scripted, and the crew members were taken aback by the moment's rawness, many characterizing it as among the most honest stuff they had ever seen. Owner, combination of this spontaneity and his internalized representation has been beneficial. Producer show that is being characterized as not only a resurgence, but are defining what Johnny Depp represents because of the role Depp performs as an actoress more than just a man who consumes alcohol throughout the day. It's someone who has forgotten about. His days gradually become into nights. Recollections become hallucinations, and relationships turn into broken shadows. Its decline into sentimental, and it depicts psychological isolation. With subtlety and depths, aptitude for strike a balance between sadness and brief glances of hope gives the performance more depth. The clip teases a scene that he observed a young jazz trio during a broken glass. His eyes were full with desiring not success or notoriety, but a subtle moment of connection. That painful silence is what's motivating critics to cover the costs. The public's reaction has only boosted the movie's momentum. Fan revisions and side-by-side analyses of Depp's previous roles in comparison to his present. The appearance of Daydrinkers is booming. Many on social media are referring to it as his MCA, and the W moment at the Dallas Buyers Club change that is so startling and significant that it requires severe criticism. Taking Reddit and movie forums into account, analysis is booming in certain threads. Fans even deciphering symbolic meanings, aspects of his attire, or conjecturing on similarities between the persona's story and Depp's personal life, whether it's art mimicking life, or the consensus is that art provides a haven for life. Is that Depp has found a way to incredibly poignant during a period when Hollywood frequently prefers safe franchised performances. Depp decided to participate in such a basic and emotionally dangerous role seems like a daring act of rebellion. It serves as a reminder that behaving fundamentally focuses on truth by letting oneself be viewed as a flawed aging person rather than a star. Depp is an emotionally nude man. Question the expectations of the industry and how the general population views him. If Daydrinker is a critical success as well as commercially, it might not simply revive. It might take his profession to a new level. More esteemed level. Depp's completely engrossing. Daydrinker's attitude was more than merely manipulative acting. It was an emotional excavation on the set. His commitment was noticeable, not just to other actors, like Naomi Watts, but to all those who are responsible for crew members at the scene. Described as respectful. When Depp was performing, there was silence, particularly in moments that needed emotional collapses or minor changes in sound and mood. Lighting technicians. Engineers made setup adjustments in close proximity to quiet, conscious of the fact that even the tiniest disruption might shatter the fragile watts per second of his performance intensity. The seasoned actress acknowledged she frequently found herself impacted not solely by the role that Depp played, but by the unadulterated energy he possessed even in the absence of the cameras. There was a particular weakness in his speech during the more tearful scenes, a hesitation that didn't appear as behaving as though it were a lived experience, rising to the surface for her as well as numerous additional actors in the movie, that the encounter was not like anything they had ever had, faced throughout their professional lives. Foresight and interviews that came after the teaser statement went into further detail on the emotional, the project's requirements. She explained how the dramatic moments, especially one in which the character, played by Depp, admits to a life-altering regret that has aged experts in tears, but not because of grief on its own, but with a feeling that they were observing something. Honest and unvarnished Foresight outlined how Depp did more than just perform. He relived his pain in front of the camera, capturing aspects of himself he'd previously concealed. She highlighted the significance of it for them, UV, to be a secure environment for such intense expression that we were reluctant to remove. We allowed it to linger from the truth. She claimed that the influence was so deep, enough that even people who don't typically influenced by performances, such as grip security personnel and assistants, were. According to reports, Several remained after moving, set up shortly after their shifts were over. To view the scenes determine when Daydrinker could not be more crucial. Over the past few years, Depp has negotiating not just the choppy following his legal disputes with Amber Heard, as well as the larger consequences of the incidents on his identity as a public figure and an artist character that the movie depicts in a number of ways. This last stage of his life, an examination of a person who is torn between the remnants of history and the delicate hope for a new beginning. Themes related to addiction and loneliness, atonement and mental anguish that appear throughout the movie reflect Depp's real-life encounters. It is this harmony between reality and art that makes his act so captivating. And it's so hard to ignore that it seems Daydrinker has given Depp a way to deal with the suffering and ambiguity that have been bothering him for years. Personal background. Into collective catharsis, his withdrawal into a more intimate in recent years. Commercial ventures were blatantly deliberate movies, like Gene. However, Dewberry received conflicting criticism. He was able to try new things because to reception and regain his self-assurance outside his collaborations with Hollywood machinery, with the Hollywood Vampires musicians, additionally provided him with a break from the spotlight of the media and provided fans with another, more laid-back aspect of him sincere. But those endeavors, while valuable, always seemed like a pause. Depp is no longer using Daydrinker. He is re-engaging in relaxing or regrouping, with the essence of his profession entering, a position requiring total emotional openness and carrying out this action under the cautious scrutiny of a sector that once questioned his future, the possible crucial success of Additionally, Daydrinker might establish a new standard on Hollywood's perception of redemption tales in a time when public sentiment is frequently quick and harsh. Depp's cautious, emotionally charged comeback could start discussions around the difficulties in recuperation and the function of when assessing public personalities. Empathy. Already, the awards-related chit-chat building festival Insiders has potential, who have viewed the film's early edits have implied that Depp's turn is, with rumors of a potential Oscar. The nominations for Best Actor are becoming more and more according to reports. The production crew is organizing a complete awards campaign, backed by interviews with behind-the-scenes footage and an emphasis on the human components that include. The movie has such a powerful resonance that it's not simply about making a comeback. Redefine if Daydrinker was successful. Start a new chapter in Johnny Depp's. One's career is not based on eccentricity, personalities or the fame of a franchise, but on unwavering sincerity, emotional complexity, and a dedication to telling stories that penetrates the human marrow itself. Discover what makes Daydrinker even more alluring is the merging of artistic and personal, the rebirth that Johnny Depp seems to be actively pursuing this. But it's not the emergence of a Hollywood star, a revolutionary approach to award buzz. Instead, it seems like a real reckoning. A performer facing the passing of time, the cost of celebrity, and the burden of life. Depp's decades-long experience, equivalent to characters that survive. The quirky fringes were misinterpreted. Other people in the world, such as Edward Roll Duke and Captain Jack, are the Scissorhands. However, in Daydrinker, Sparrow, the man at the story's core, is not concealed behind surrealism or fantasy. He is unadulterated and dreadfully human, and that people as unpleasant, and pared down as it is. Exactly why this position is so different, since Depp isn't playing for once. He's playing to get away from reality. Someone who is still trying while being crushed by it, in order to regain the symbolism. Incorporated into the title of the movie Daydrinker is a term that cannot be exaggerated.